Good afternoon, everybody. Today I want to be speaking about a very important person during the civil rights movement for my public speaking class, and I appreciate you guys all being here today. So, we've all learned about Rosa Parks and her role in the Montgomery bus caught, correct? Like the integration. And has anybody ever heard of Claudette Colvin?
Nope.
All right. Well, what if I told you that Rosa Parks was not the first Black woman to refuse her seat on a segregated bus? Did you guys be shocked? You guys shocked to hear that?
Wow.
Really? Well, in fact, who I mentioned earlier, the first person was Claudette Colvin. She was an exceptional woman of her time. So Claudette Colvin, she is unfortunately not a well-known American activist. She was born in 1939 and she is age 86 currently, and she was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. And she made a huge big impact for the 1950s civil rights movement. A little history of why I'm even talking about her is because she was arrested at the age of 15 in Montgomery, Alabama, because just similar to Rosa Parks, she refused to give up her segregated crowded bus seat to a white woman. So the first point that I want to talk about is I want to describe how she defended herself, and that's by she said that it was her constitutional right that I should not have to give up my bus seat. It's my constitutional right. I paid my bus fare. That is for me to be here, and just because of my skin color doesn't mean I should have to. And actually, according to let me see here, I apologize, NPR.org, she was actually interviewed by Margaret Alder, and she said she's not walking off the bus voluntarily. That's exactly what happened. Can somebody clip that? Crap.
Are you editing that out?
I can't, but it's okay. She was interviewed by Margaret Alder. Like I said, sorry, she was walking off the bus voluntarily. That is not what happened. She got arrested at just 15 years old. Secondly, I want to talk about how her resilience and her bravery helps the future of African American community and culture and society, and obviously to end segregation as a whole. So Rosa Parks, does anybody know what time period she did that? Like how many months before Claudette Colvin did that, or after? I'm sorry. No. Well, so it was actually 9 months after Rosa Parks did had her segregation bus protest happen. 9 months after Claudette Colvin, and that obviously inspired a lot of other men and women in the African American community to stand up for themselves and not allow segregation to go against them. And also, it did really improve African American youth activism, like clubs and things. One of them would be the NAACP. She actually, and this is according to asu.edu, she's actually a member of the NAACP Youth Council in Birmingham, Alabama, her hometown. And NPR also did say, that's where I got the source of 9 months before Rosa Parks. And then finally, her story is overlooked, and this is the biggest thing for me. It's very disappointing, very sad, and it should not be the way it is. But it's been overlooked for decades, and obviously because none of you guys have heard of her, and people have heard of Rosa Parks, but nobody's heard of Claudette Colvin, and there's a lot of reasons why. Firstly, she was a teenager at the time, just like I said, 15. She was poor. She was part of the working class. Her family was, and unfortunately, I guess fortunately, but unfortunately at that time for her case, shortly after somebody click that again. Shortly after, she actually got pregnant, and she was not married during the time. That was very, very frowned upon by the courts and by the actual NAACP. And the thing for me that really bothers me the most is she was not idealized as the icon because of she had darker skin than Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was a fair, a light-skinned African American woman, but she was not. She was dark-skinned, and they just thought that, it's honestly they're being racist against themselves. It was most of the Supreme Court's decision when she was in the case of Browder versus Gale, that they just didn't think that she should be the head of it. It should be a fair, lighter-skinned Black woman. And just to back myself up with that, Social Forces said that her exclusion by the NAACP in favor of Rosa Parks shows a methodological weakness of using a post-structural approach to history. It really saddens me that like your own culture is still going against you. Your own race is going against you just because that's what you're taught. It's ignorance. But yeah, so I want just to conclude the speech. Like in conclusion, she defended herself in many ways, and she has impacted history for life and in the future. And I hope more people get to know about Claudette Colvin and how much of an exceptional woman she was. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? Yes.
She's still alive.
Yes, she is 80, I believe I said 86. Yep, 86. She was born in 1939. I was shocked when I found she was still alive. But yeah, and I think that's even more important to the situation because Rosa Parks is passed away, and I feel like having a woman who did create this movement and who did start this and was the first one, you can still ask her questions. She's still living. So, any other questions I can answer for you guys? And thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it.